In the 21st century, TV talent shows provide entertainment for millions of viewers in Britain and billions across the globe. For over half a century, we've tuned in to see stars being born before our eyes. Now, for the first time, this series will tell the full story of how talent shows came to dominate our Saturday nights.
Thank you.
Good evening and welcome.
Your Saturday night starts right here.
It's uncovering new talent. It's unearthing something different.
To have someone walk on stage and absolutely blow you away.
For that brief moment, the whole country is united in saying, wow.
Little Mix.
We recall the events that changed talent show history.
I don't think there's been a final which has gripped the nation like that since.
Will.
I felt sick. That's how much it affected me.
From its early pioneers,
Huey Green. Vote, 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 because your vote counts.
He was the godfather of talent shows.
to the stars we helped create.
And that's just one side of me.
I thought I would be buzzed the minute they saw me swirling my hips.
It's a story with moments of comedy.
That's possibly my funniest moment.
And tragedy.
Lena Zavaroni, one of the greatest talents we had in this country.
We'll hear from the stars who were there to see it all happen.
It's goosebumps, it's hairs on the back of the neck.
It's just mind-blowing. And that's the moment you live for.
This is the talent show story. Tonight on the Talent Show Story, we recall the Pop Idol final that divided a nation.
Time's up. The moment the nation has been waiting for.
I still, to this day, can't watch the final back. That moment.
We hear about the series that reinvented the talent show at the turn of the millennium.
That was such a huge moment in my life. That was pretty spectacular.
And TV's first Mrs. Nasty takes an emotional trip down memory lane to recall an old friend.
This place is always tied up with Marty for me. I feel I shouldn't be standing here because this is her place.
But we start with a story that sums up the ultimate talent show dream. The story of how one 3-minute audition turned a church choir singer into a global superstar.
I still get a buzz when somebody brilliant comes in and they're not really aware of it. Those are the moments you really do the auditions for. And it normally comes from nowhere.
There's been a long, horrible day in Glasgow. Terrible acts, audience getting on their backs, and it was a really bad atmosphere. Do you normally drop it?
Yeah.
But what the judges didn't know was that backstage was a woman who was about to make this a day to remember.
Susan was an unemployed, middle-aged spinster from Blackburn in Scotland. She lived on her own, she had a little council house, but she had a big dream.
Susan Boyle was a regular performer in local pubs, but always aspired to greater things.
I wanted to be a professional singer for many years, for 23 years. So I auditioned for Barrymore. I originally applied for X Factor, and I got as far as the preliminaries there. So I thought, I like Simon Cowell. We'll see him in another context. So I decided to apply for the programme Britain's Got Talent.
When she sort of sashayed out onto that stage, you didn't expect anything from her. And I remember thinking, oh, what is she wearing? You know, awful, bitchy kind of things that are excruciatingly embarrassing to admit.
How old are you, Susan?
I am 47.
On shuffle, Susan, and I'm like, oh, God, she's either a singer or a comedian. I'm not in the mood for this.
And she started behaving in a rather odd way, and it all seemed vaguely crackers.
And that's just one side of me.
I said, well, enjoy yourself and be blooming cheeky about it and see what the outcome is. So we just decided to play a bit of it and have some fun.
What are you going to sing tonight?
I'm going to sing I Dreamed a Dream from Les Miserables.
Okay.
Big song.
Big song. As if to say, you have no hope of singing that song in anything but an appalling manner.
I dreamed a dream in time gone by.
I turned to Simon and Amanda and we all just went, wow.
You just didn't expect that, did you? Did you? No.
It was amazing.
I just remember feeling so embarrassed that I judged her and hated myself for being shallow.
As eternal dreams to share.
That's the moment you live for. It's that moment of surprise, and you feel it behind you with the audience when you've got someone special.
Let's be honest, nobody knew the outcome. It was completely unrehearsed. In fact, I thought I would be buzzed the minute they saw me swirling my hips. I didn't think I'd be good enough to get through and get as far as I've got.
Life has killed the dream I dreamed.
When she finished, the whole place just erupted. I mean, it was an incredible thing, which I've never seen before or since.
Susan Boyle, you can go back to the village with your head held high. It's 3 S's.
I thought, oh my God, what have I done?
Watched by an audience of 10 million viewers, overnight Susan Boyle had become a household name. But no one could predict what would happen next.
The sort of new modern media turned her into a global superstar. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook.
It happened so rapidly and it went global so quickly. It's a very human story that crosses boundaries and continents and countries. Everybody understands that story.
Susan's audition became the world's most watched internet clip in 2009.
It was like a giant whirlwind at first. You didn't really know where you were or what was going to happen next. It was really exciting.
Susan Boyle is now appearing in newspaper headlines around the world.
Overraskede Susan Boyle. Susan Boyle.
The voice and the life story of Susan Boyle.
When the satellite appeared on my doorstep for American television, I thought, oh my God, I haven't even paid my licence. I'm not letting these ones in, no way. So I had to dismantle my aerial. That's how green I was at the time.
Understandably, TV's newest star found the level of media attention hard to cope with.
The papers were non-stop writing about her and she's having an emotional breakdown. Is it too much for Susan? Should she have been allowed on the show? It was a very, very intense week.
It's very surreal. It's as if you're in a kind of goldfish bowl of your own, you know, with people looking in. It can be quite terrifying.
And every day the story was that she was cracking under pressure. I mean, it was bad. So I got her in to see me into my dressing room. And I said, look, to be honest with you, Susan, I think you've got a great career ahead of you, whether you go into the finals or not. You can walk away and nobody's going to think that you're a quitter. And she said, no, I want to do it. She said, I wouldn't forgive myself if I didn't have the chance.
Under enormous pressure, Susan performed in the final in front of 18 million viewers. But there was another surprise in store for the bookies' favourite.
The winner of Britain's Got Talent 2009 is...
It was Dec's turn to say the winner, and down your ear here, it's diversity. What? It's diversity.
Diversity!
That was a very big shock at that final.
You couldn't believe that she hadn't won. It was one of the most dramatic moments of television ever, I think.
Susan Boyle, what a fantastic competitor. Susan, how do you feel right now?
The best people won.
Losing was a difficult thing for her to deal with. She'd sort of been told by everybody, you're going to walk, this is going to be easy, and then she came second. And I think she found that a really big blow.
Susan Boyle's been admitted to a clinic suffering from exhaustion.
Psychologists, relatives, and even Gordon Brown have been discussing the well-being of Susan Boyle today.
She was just terribly worried that, you know, she'd had this incredible weeks of global attention and that it was all going to disappear overnight and come to an end.
But as it turned out, Susan Boyle's dream wasn't over.
Nice to see you.
She was in high demand across the globe.
Could you speak some Chinese?
Soon later.
And released the fastest-selling album of 2009.
Nobody knew how things were going to go 3 years ago. I certainly didn't imagine that things would take off so well. I'm excited. I look forward to doing more albums in the future, if they'll let me. And I look forward to entertaining people for many years to come.
The Susan Boyle story absolutely epitomises what talent shows are all about. Somebody who lived a dream, never got a chance to realise it, and then gets her chance and takes it.
Coming next, the show that changed the face of British television.
There's our band.
Here's our bag. We tell the story behind Pop Stars and hear how Simon Cowell turned down a chance to be on the judging panel.
Well, once I saw how successful Pop Stars was, I wasn't happy about it.
Today, talent shows are more than just TV programmes, they're global brands. Series like these have found audiences both at home and across the planet. But how do we get here? The original golden era for the talent show was the 60s and 70s, when Opportunity Knocks and New Faces were amongst the most watched shows on British television. Many other series would follow.
Star time.
But by the late 80s, the talent show was in decline. By the turn of the century, there were barely any left on our screens. In the age of reality TV, the talent show seemed to be a relic from a bygone era.
Good night, everybody.
But one man was about to change the course of television history.
In 2000, I went across to Australia where my son was working on a programme called Pop Stars.
Pop Stars was a documentary-style talent show which saw 5 unknown singers picked by a panel to form a band.
This programme showed the audition process, and no other programme that I could remember had ever done this before.
I'm gonna show it.
This was hotels and people lining up and sing.
Making it burn. Oh my God.
Not good enough, you sing.
There's no sunshine when it's gone.
Okay, you step by. And it was that whole process, and I loved it.
I want to really want to think.
I bought the format, took it straight back to England.
We were living in the age of the created pop group. So it seemed like a good idea for television to get onto that bandwagon.
Throughout the history of time, talent shows had panels of people making decisions about who was going on and who was going through. But that had never been seen before. That was always behind the scenes. And suddenly this was a show where actually it was part of the show.
The role of the panel would be crucial to the show, so who should be on it?
Nigel was keen to have Jonathan King on the panel. And I said to him, quite flippantly actually, on the phone, I said, well, I'd rather have you. And it was actually a joke.
I, not reluctantly, said I'd love to. Why not?
I said, look, actually, let me sleep on it, but I think this could be quite a good idea.
With Spice Girls publicist Nikki Chapman and record company exec Paul Adam completing the lineup, the Pop Stars panel was complete. But it could have been very different.
Simon Cowell was absolutely 100% approached to do Pop Stars. In fact, he was the person we wanted the most.
I thought about it Do I want to show how we manufacture groups? No. So I wasn't interested.
He turned us down, and he didn't think it was going to work, the show. So we told him he'd made a huge mistake and that when the ratings came in, he'd regret it. And he did.
Well, once I saw how successful Pop Stars was, I wasn't happy about it. And it was actually making me feel sick.
He was livid that he'd missed that opportunity, and I'm sure that's what spurred him on for Pop Idol and other things further down the line. He was gutted.
In August 2000, the audition process began, and the panel and production team took in a trawl of venues around the UK.
It wasn't glamorous at all. I don't think you could get any further removed from the massive auditions of X Factor now, but that's where it all started.
She's living the vida loca, come on, she's living the vida loca.
It's difficult at this time of the morning to get excited about that, isn't it?
The smile on your feet.
If they think they can sing, they're either stupid or deaf.
As we carried on filming and we auditioned more and more people, Nigel's one-liners just got better and better.
Contemplate my fate.
Do you know the tune of Angels?
Nasty Nigel, he was dubbed. There's always has to be an evil one, doesn't there? And Nigel was ours.
I didn't really care at that moment about being called Nasty Nigel by the tabloids, purely and simply because it brought notice to the programme. And the only thing I was interested in was the programme.
Despite the bad auditions, some stars were beginning to shine.
My heart will go on.
I was a single mum, living on benefit. I'd been trying to get into the music industry since I was about 12 years old. I was 24 at that point, so I was kind of running out of time, really.
Will you come to me?
I was a jobbing musician. I'd just done West End shows and I'd just been offered a tour.
You still play the best.
I just thought this was another audition, and if I didn't get this, I had to get the next one because it was a job for me.
She's into superstition, black cats and voodoo. The whittling down process or the elimination process was quite intense.
Hi, Raymond.
Hi, Raymond.
Nigel Lithgow added drama by placing the judges' table at the far end of the audition room.
We called it the Green Mile, sort of like from the Tom Hanks movie. It's just your footsteps to keep you company until you reach the judges' table.
It was the longest walk of your life at that point in time because you were terrified.
It provided jeopardy, I think, for the first time. They were so scared, petrified, had they made it or not.
Raymond, we're not going to ask you back tomorrow.
We'd like to see you again tomorrow.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Taz, mate, we're not going to ask you to stay.
Can't believe I'm going to have to say goodbye to some of you now.
On previous talent shows, the pain of rejection had not been filmed. For the first time, viewers were witnessing the raw emotion of the auditioning process.
We made a lot of friends there, and to see people go and to see literally dreams shattered in an instant like that, it's quite painful to watch.
But that pain wasn't over yet. The judges still had some big decisions to make.
There's our band.
Here's our bag.
We're not going to ask you to be in the band.
I'm in.
I'm afraid you haven't been chosen for the band.
Okay. You are one of the 5.
Oh!
You were down to the last 10, as you know.
Paul Adam came to see me. He tried to trick me, said, I'm afraid, you know.
I'm afraid you're going to have to move down to London for a few months.
Oh, you're joking. I was like, God. I hate you for that.
I can only do it, I wouldn't do anyone else.
I remember telling my dad, and he's like, so let me get this right, you've turned down a year on tour to go and join a pop band. And when he said those words out loud, I just thought, oh God, what have I done?
You've made it to the final 5.
Yeah, I have. I've turned down a year's work. Thank God.
It's the keys to the house. Welcome to the band.
Oh my God!
The judges had settled on their final 5. Noel, Danny, Suzanne, Kim and Miley. Hearsay were born. And in a new age of docu-soap and reality TV, it was also the dawn of a new era for the talent show.
They put us in this house. There was microphones in the teapot. There was sort of cameras coming round doors at you. We just didn't know. There'd never been a format like it.
Just work it out, stop looking down.
As the band set to work on recording, the cameras also captured the harsh reality of the music business.
You need to lose some weight. And it's all right saying, oh, Christmas was there and, well, the goose has gotten fat.
Do you think I'm fat? What a nice thing to say to a girl. Kai's a charmer, isn't he?
I think you've put weight on over Christmas, and I think you needed to lose weight before Christmas, yeah.
Dear.
The reason I said this, because it was just after Christmas, the band were very lethargic. The record company said, you have got to do something about this.
Out of order. There's no hard feelings with Nigel. He was just doing his job. He's making a TV show. That's what he set out to do, and that's what he did. You know, he made a TV show that was absolutely not to be missed television.
The band were finally launched to the public in February 2001, and their debut single went head-to-head with Westlife for the #1 spot. But could a pop group formed on a talent show really compete with the nation's biggest boy band?
It's literally seconds to go before we find out whether Hearsay have made it to #1, and we are going to wait.
We were all gathered round and we heard, and at number 2...
Wait, number 2!
We all just went, because we knew at that point that Pure and Simple was #1.
That was such a huge moment in my life. 5 crazy kids jumping around a living room. That was pretty spectacular.
You have got the biggest selling British debut single ever.
The whole country went completely berserk. We were literally on everything, at everything, in everything. You couldn't move without seeing Hearsay somewhere. We had like little dolls made. We did a tour, we did another album, literally all in the space of a year.
We achieved so much in a short space of time. And so it was inevitable that for us, the only way was a demise of some sort.
It's not hearsay, it's true. The made-for-TV pop band has split up.
When it finishes, I can't tell you what it feels like because, I mean, how can you feel washed up at 23?
Popstars had reinvented the TV talent show for the 21st century. And for the members of Hearsay, life would never be the same.
It certainly brought me to where I am now. It changed my life forever. Absolutely changed my life forever.
Popstars changed my life. There's no doubt about it. I met my partner through it. I mean, I ran off with the Bodyguards. I did a Whitney.
I would recommend a TV talent show to anyone. You've got to have a thick skin, but it's the greatest experience of my life, and I think it will always be.
Still to come, from Nasty Nigel to Nasty Nina.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nina Mishkov.
Nina Mishkov recalls her time as a judge on New Faces and remembers its host, her good friend, Marty Kane.
This place is always tied up with Marty for me.
No modern-day talent show would be complete without its judges. And every great judging panel needs a villain.
The audience weren't clapping because they liked your talent.
Popstars gave us Nigel Lithgow. Pop Idol had Simon Cowell.
This show is called Pop Idol, not Karaoke Idol.
Back in the 1970s, New Faces gave us TV's first tough judges, Tony Hatch and Mickey Most. And when the show was revived in the 80s, it introduced viewers to one of the most controversial critics in talent show history.
I can remember the first Mrs. Nasty.
I thought the song was absolute rubbish.
Everybody was amazed at this woman. Who was she?
What a mess.
She was formidable. She took no prisoners.
He sounds a bit like a goat on heat.
She was like Simon Cowell in a dress, with a little bit more makeup.
There is nothing
anything remotely funny about them.
Here she is, little Miss Sunshine herself, Nina Mishkov.
A quarter of a century on, Nina Mishkov is returning to the theatre where New Faces was recorded to recall her days as the most feared woman on television.
It's all different. It wasn't like this at all, so I feel a bit strange, really. Lots and lots of memories that sort of flood back. Lots of happy times, lots of sad times, lots of tough times. Oh, I think this is it. God, how much older do I look? God. Never mind, still here and back in Birmingham. I was TV critic on the News of the World when I got a phone call to say that somebody called Richard Holloway wanted to take me to lunch.
And it was instant. I instantly knew that this woman was just going to be great. She was opinionated, but she was honest.
I said to Richard, what do you want from me? You know, what is it? And he said, be yourself. And that's exactly what I was.
He sounds a bit like a goat on heat.
Well, if anybody knows, you should, Nina.
Thank you, Marty.
Oh, this is it. This is my place. Up in the ashtray, like the two old men and the Muppets.
Sandman, bring me a dream. I think they'll go down terrific as a cabaret at a gay ball.
Right.
From the very first show, the audience booed me. And I think everybody was very startled by that. And I mean, I was totally startled by it.
They couldn't smoulder if you had a vat of paraffin and a flamethrower.
We encouraged the audience to be part of the show. If Nina said something that was pretty harsh and they thought was unfair, they certainly let her know.
Of course, Nina's barbed comments didn't go down too well with those on the receiving end.
What's the similarity between a taxman and a penguin? They can both stick the bills up the backside.
I'm sorry, I absolutely hated her. I dislike this kind of grotesque approach where a woman has to make a complete fool of herself.
She gave that response solely to get herself known, because nobody knew who Nina Mishkov was. And the comments were cruel. They weren't constructive, they were insulting and cruel, and she should be ashamed of herself.
There is now a move to ban fox hunting. I think that's a mistake, having seen Miss Fox.
We were down in the bar afterwards, and my husband actually bought her a drink with a little note attached to it and sent it over. And he'd written on it, "You were after blood, here's a Bloody Mary."
I mean, if I was her, I'd probably have poured it over me.
Luckily for the contestants, host Marty Kane was quick to spring to their defence.
From the knees down, she looked fantastic. From the knees up, I have to make her wobbly of the week.
Yeah, well, it takes one to know one. Right, now...
When I started criticising the act, Marty, all her maternal instincts came to the fore, and whether she agreed with me or not, she would defend them like a lioness.
They have a lot in common with George Formby. He happens to be dead.
She's a brave lady. I think after her comments tonight, her days are numbered. But anyway...
There are some people who thought that we absolutely hated each other because we were insulting each other the whole time. But in fact, you only bother to insult people you really care about.
Tell me, what is that hideous creature you have about your person?
It's a spider, you fool.
No, I was talking to the spider.
I think that's what really endeared a television audience to Marty, because she stood up for the act.
Looks like a Lurex hot water bottle about to burst. And I think it's a shame. I think it's a shame.
Well, that's Nina. N-I-N-A, never intentionally nice to anyone. Barry.
People have done it since. You know, we get hosts now who will have a go at the judges, but Marty was the first one to do that.
Marty Kane had got her first big break on the original series of New Faces, competing against a young Lenny Henry in the All-Winners final of 1975.
Please welcome Miss Marty Kane.
Look at that for a nose. When they were giving out noses, I thought they said roses and asked for a big red one. Look at that.
She was this great, dotty, Streisand-esque comedian with a big ooter, and she opened her mouth and this voice came out.
Memories
lights the corners of my mind.
So that was the unique selling point of Marty. She could sing as well as do jokes, and she could do physical comedy too.
Of the way.
That was a pretty good package back in those days. And I think that's why she won.
And the act that goes to Las Vegas to represent New Faces is Marty Kane.
After New Faces, Marty was given her own show, becoming one of the biggest TV stars of the 1980s.
When I was growing up, television was mostly dominated by your Dick Emerys and your Benny Hills and your Morecambe and Wises. There was a lot of men on. And Marty was one of the first women I remember being on telly that I liked. She fought all her life to be a comedian and then went on to host the show that she won.
Please welcome your host for this evening, Miss Marty Kane.
But even for the apparently ever-confident Marty, presenting a live TV talent show in front of millions of viewers proved a daunting task.
Good evening. Well, what can I say? Thank you. Thank you, good evening, and welcome to the...
When she was hosting New Faces in the 80s, she assured me that seconds before, she'd been really ill in the wings. They had a bucket there ready for her every night, apparently, because she was so nervous and afraid.
Every single night of going on live television with Marty was, you know, I stood in the wings with her for every single show, and you pretty well had to just push her on.
That's nerves for you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go and see what our panel made of that one.
Marty's real name was Lynn Shepherd. She said, I feel sometimes as if I'm two people, as if I'm Lynn, but then when the occasion calls for it, someone else clicks in. And she's called Marty Kane. But until she takes over, I'm just a nervous wreck.
During the third and final series of New Faces, Marty was diagnosed with terminal cancer. It was a battle she would face with a characteristic combination of courage and humour.
She said, it's really good news, it's really good news. It is cancer, but it's, you know, it's a really good one. And, 10 years, I've got 10 years, you know, it's fine, it's fine. Let's get some champagne. I don't think she could ever bear to think that anyone felt sorry for her, because she certainly didn't feel sorry for herself.
Marty Kane died on the 4th of November 1995, aged just 51.
It was really sad. Saddest things happen to the nicest people, and she was one of the nicest people.
Sorry, Marty, but I think you look like you've come rushing out of a Hong Kong bar and brought half the curtain with you.
She's got the rest of it over her shoulder.
The thing is that being here, it's not just it's not the show, or particularly it's not Birmingham, it's not the Hippodrome as such. What it reminds me of is Marty. I feel I shouldn't be standing here because this is her place. So this place is always tied up with Marty for me.
I think that Marty would like to be remembered as being inspirational to anyone that's got any ambition, any hopes, any dreams. I think that she was proof that anything is possible and anything is achievable. And the other thing that I think she would definitely like to be remembered with is a smile. Definitely a smile.
Good night, God bless, and thank you.
Next, we tell the behind-the-scenes story of the Pop Idol final that gripped the nation.
I don't think it was average. I don't think you could ever call that average.
And I thought this is going to be interesting. You don't like me and I don't like you very much.
Thank you.
The winning act is Les Dennis.
You're the winner with the audience.
Throughout TV history, talent shows have seen newcomers battle it out to be crowned the winner.
Joss Stone.
But in 2002, a new series would take the nationwide search for a star to a whole new level. Pop Idol sought to unearth Britain's next great solo artist, with £1 million recording contract as the prize. One person who saw the adverts was an 18-year-old schoolboy from Bradford.
I was never able to communicate very well as a child because of my stammer, and so music, and in particular singing, was my form of release.
Love will turn your world around, and that world will...
My mum saw an advert for Pop Idol. The advert said, "Are you the next Robbie?" And so I thought of Robbie and how very chatty he is, very witty. And so instantly I had doubts because I thought, well, I can't even say my own name. Because of that, I was quite fearful of the whole thing. But I plucked up my courage and went for it.
When he walked in, I thought, I hope you can sing, because you look great. Thought the girls would love him. So I'm kind of optimistic. And then he couldn't talk.
My name is... Oh, come on, lad.
No, just take your time.
I was just blocking there for about 5 minutes, like... And I'm thinking, oh, God, this has wrecked it for me. There's no chance they're going to put me through. Gareth Gates.
That's fine. When you're ready.
By that time, you're thinking, how on earth is he going to sing?
Everybody's looking for that something. Just one thing that makes it all complete.
The most beautiful voice came across, and we were all smitten.
Some find it in the face of their children.
I've got to admit, in my brain, I just went jackpot. I did. I just knew. I knew that we had a great, great story here. And I thought we found a star.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Wow. What you've done today is unbelievably brave. Just standing here in front of the four of us. And you do have a problem with your voice, I understand that, but you don't have a problem with your singing voice.
Yeah, that's right.
And you are 100% coming to London for the next audition.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes! It went very well, and I got the gig.
As soon as they saw Gareth's audition, everybody was like, this show's going to be huge. It's a hit, you know, we found a real star.
In marked contrast, another budding pop idol scraped through the early rounds almost unnoticed.
Come on in.
Hi. Hi, how you doing?
Hi. William Robert Young.
Yes.
Where are you from?
I'm from a place called Hungerford.
Will Young was the very last person we saw on the very last day.
You don't blame it on the sunshine. You don't blame it on the moonlight.
He did a very dodgy dance, I seem to remember, as part of his audition, and we only put him through because we were short of boys. There you go. How's that for an admission?
I just can't control my feet, yeah.
Thank you, William. Does it mean a lot to you?
Yes, it does.
Okay, we'll see you through to the next round.
Will Young was clearly a very different character to many of the wannabe pop stars in the competition, and it wasn't long before he made his mark on the show.
The defining moment for me was when Will Young auditioned for us in Teddington. He came on the stage and he sang Light My Fire.
Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire. Come on, baby, light my fire.
I had a vision of Sunday lunch, and after Sunday lunch, you say in front of your family, I'm now going to sing a song for you. Okay. Distinctly average, I'm afraid.
Could you elaborate a bit more, please?
I just thought it was totally normal. In the context of this show, I honestly didn't think it was good enough.
Okay.
At this point, the whole country was talking about Simon's way with the contestants and how brutally honest he was and sometimes how nasty he was, and no one was fighting back.
Will got wound up. I think Will got wound up that everybody else was praising him and Simon didn't get it.
All of us have been dying to say things to you, and I've written about 10 things to say to you.
Well, I
not
just
for
spoke
you.
as I
Sorry,
felt, so you do the
did I
same.
finish?
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I thought he was obnoxious. I did. You know, I just thought he was full of himself.
In previous shows, you've just given projected insults, and it has been terrible to watch.
For me, that's when it all changed, because he was so articulate with his response and really put Simon Cowell down.
It is your opinion. I don't agree with it. I don't think it was average. I don't think you could ever call that average.
Good for you, Will. And the viewers really liked that, really got behind him after that.
You're a gentleman, sir.
Thank you.
And I thought this is going to be interesting. You don't like me and I don't like you very much. And nothing's changed particularly.
As the competition progressed to the live shows, there was no doubt who the favourite was.
My favourite song of all time. You've just made that song your own. You're going to have a #1 record with that song, I'm telling you now. It's fantastic.
Simon thought Gareth had the whole package. He was cute, he had talent, the most amazing voice. We knew he had problems with Will.
We're trying to create from this competition a pop idol to compare with the very best out there. Everything I've seen tonight has disappointed me so far.
He was gunning for Gareth, well and truly, and Will got in the way.
The finalists in ITV1's Pop Idol programme have begun a frantic final few days of political-style campaigning.
Ultimately, it would be the viewers who would decide the winner in what would be the biggest single vote in television history.
Yes, it's Will versus Gareth in the final of Pop Idol.
I don't think there's been a final which has gripped the nation like that since. And it was pretty much a divide of the country, you know?
It was like an election campaign. Vote Will, vote Gareth.
The last week, they were on every news report, they were in every newspaper.
Everybody knew who they were.
They were on their battle buses trying to drum up support. It was the most amazing week.
The rivalry was fun. Me and Will played up to it. We made out we was, you know, fighting and things, but that was part of the charm and part of the fun.
It really was an amazing feel-good time. We were having Pop Idol parties. For the first time, people were going to be going, what are you doing Saturday night? I'm staying to watch the Pop Idol final. That's what I'm doing.
The TV talent show final, that's kind of what it's all about. That's what all the months of auditions and the various heats and whatever. It's all about that night.
Welcome. This is it. Tonight's the night. It's the grand final of Pop Idol. In just one short hour, we'll have the Clash of the Titans.
I can remember the atmosphere that night in the studio. This was it. Everything that we'd all worked so hard for.
Singing Anything Is Possible. It's Will.
Me and Pete were going Will. And then Nikki and Simon, they were going for Gareth.
Singing Evergreen. It's Gareth.
So we were split, the nation was split, the audience was split, and we really didn't know who was going to win.
This is it. Time's up. The moment the nation has been waiting for. We have the results. One of you got 4.6 million votes. The other one of you got 4.1 million votes. A total of 8.7 million votes, which is a new British record.
I'll be honest, I think we all kind of thought it was Gareth. I think we all thought, well, the teenage girls are going to vote and he's going to kind of run away with it a bit.
The winner of Pop Idol 2002 is...
And that long silence did feel like an eternity. It was real sort of gut-wrenching stuff.
We hear it in our ear.
And I looked at him.
Is that, have I got this right? I don't want to mess this up.
Will!
Even Will was shocked.
Yeah.
You see his face and did that whole...
I thought it was Gareth. Even Will thought Gareth was going to win.
Naturally, I was gutted when he said, Will.
I remember feeling it in my stomach. I felt sick. That's how much it affected me. Shouldn't, but it did. I still, to this day, can't watch the final back, that moment, because I was really, really disappointed. I really liked him. I wanted him to win.
Will was a worthy winner. If there's anybody in the competition to lose against, it was certainly him.
We've crowned lots of winners over the years on Britain's Got Talent and I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here and other shows, but that first time we've done it with Will and Gary is still my fondest memory.
That was hairs on the back of your neck stuff.
Next time on The Talent Show Story.
Variety was totally forgotten, and more than just being forgotten, it was a dirty word.
How can I improve my voice? How can I?
Pray for a miracle.
We were kind of open-mouthed about how rude and brutally honest he was being.
Mr. Tony Hatch and Mr. Mickey Most.
People were frightened to go on that show. They were really tough.
I absolutely hated the song.
Thank you very much.